Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask Walter Watson to come up and lead us in prayer.
Good to be here tonight. Good to know that we serve God. Good to know that we put Him first. That's how we make it through difficult decisions. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for our city. We thank you for the years of service, Lord, that you've granted us to serve. We thank you for those that serve now. We thank you for difficult decisions. They help us to lean on you and ask for your guidance. Tonight, Lord, we pray that, as always, you will guide us, give us direction, and let us come out on the blessed side. We just thank you for our community and the people that serve. May we always put you first. May we always seek your guidance. May we always act for wisdom. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Face the flag, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good to see everybody out tonight for our evening council meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Pay bills. Has everybody had a chance to look over the pay bills?
Second.
They got a motion and a second to pay the bills. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Moving right along. Okay, we have a very interesting topic tonight. I know a lot of folks are anxious to talk about. It's something that we decided to put out there on the agenda and get some public comment about, get some feedback, and have some council discussion about it. Things like this, it's not something you want to do hastily, but when there's a need, we want to fulfill all the needs of the city and do what we've been put here to do, and that's to do the best of our ability to make Fort Payne great, moving forward. So I guess I will open up the floor for any comments from the audience, any comments from anybody up here.
I think one of the things that needs to be straightened out right off the bat is we're going to have to make this decision. A lot of people think that we're trying to go out here and stimulate comment on a public vote for this. This is a decision that we as a body are going to have to make. We're just trying to get comment from the public, pro and con, ideas and thoughts. But this is a council decision, and we're the ones that are going to have to make that. So I want to clear out that right, because I've had several people say, well, when are we going to vote on it? Well, we're going to vote on it, and it's on us to do this, and that's why we're trying to take great pains to do the right thing. So I just want to put that out there, and then I'll be quiet for a while.
We just want everybody's input. We want to know what you as citizens think, and we just want to be there to do the right thing. Anybody got any comment on the proposed 1 cent sales tax?
Pro or con?
Pro or con? And I would ask you to come up to the microphone, please.
Of course, you know who I am. When I drove up here, I was expecting to have to park at First Baptist Church. And you can look in here, how many people are here, which tells me one thing. People are supporting this move. if they don't support it, they're gonna come up here and oppose it. But I can, just by the people that are here, and some of these may oppose it, but the vast majority of people, if they were going to oppose it, they would be up here, you know, doing that. I personally, nobody like to pay more taxes, but I think it's better for our city at this time to drive all around. Everybody's paying 9%, and we're, the mayor of Charlottesville was in office. He said when he went into office, which was 9 years ago, that it was 9% then. Just think, in 9 years, how much money we've lost of being at 8% instead of 9%. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Steve. Walter? Next.
I thought he was going to the back.
Yeah.
We're not getting emails tomorrow.
First door on the left.
I appreciate you guys. I've sit where you are. I know it's a difficult decision to make. I got my sales paper here. I just got sometimes my sales paper. Bruce has actually got a pretty good sale on. I'm going to leave here and go there. Just watching, I often ask, and we've asked the question, when is the right time? When is the right time? That's kind of plagued us for a long time. When is the right time? I bug the guys about trend lines. When you see certain things happen, it's the time to take action. I just want to start with some of the things that I saw. Johnny and I, we've been on this for a long time. We survived through the sock mill industry being strong, and we had a little revenue, but then it started to trickle down a little bit. And Johnny and myself asked the question, when is the right time? Also, it was difficult to make the decision because we're politicians. I mean, we got to be reelected. We're trying to figure out what the people are going to think. And I just want to keep it real with everybody. You know, we don't know what they're going to think. We need to keep these guys in office, but they got to make a tough decision. That's real. But when you see trend lines going, and this, I got this from the numbers. I appreciate Wade digging it up and all the accountants and everybody that kept up with it. When a gentleman came to us that did our audits and said, if you continue to go in this direction, you're going to find yourself in bad shape. At that point in time, I got a little antsy. Everybody knows that I would say it's time now to actually make this move. In 2010, when everything was said and done for that year, the numbers may be off a little bit, but they're pretty close. There was a $5 million surplus that we had to get. We had to get and use that. Okay, we're okay. 2011, 800,000. 2012, 1.4. 2013, 1. 2014, 975,000. This is minus. Then we really got together. We worked on it really hard, and Andy and Jessica, they worked on it really hard. They got us down to $267,000 minus. And now it's back up again, 1.1 million. These trend lines, I hope that the data can actually tell us when to do it. The data is telling us now that you need to do something, because if you continue on this path, if we raise it then, you're just going to be surviving with it. It's time to do it now and invest in it. You guys will have, I think the greatest challenge will be after you do it, to have people like Johnny on board that's going to squeeze every penny, to be sure that you guys watch what's going on. I know we got, when I chose to have an appointed school board, I took responsibility for those actions. That means that school partly belongs to me. I know we need to support them. First things is first. We need to get the city stable. I think the last time we talked about it, Steve's got some excellent ideas that he presented. I think we need to go forward with that. But the first thing we need to do is get the city stable. Things like make sure that we have enough to survive on. We need 4 months. What is it? About $2 million a month. What is it? Somewhere around there. We need at least 4 months. You know, just to have some surplus that we say we can survive when we have 4 months. We don't have that. You know, so I would hope that we would make the decision not based on just data, just data driven. It's time to do it, and it's time to watch it when it's done. I think we need to tell the school, once we get the city stabilized, and we stabilize, and they'll let them know what that is, then we'll come and help you with the project. But until that time, you guys have to make sure, in my opinion, that we stabilize the city of Fort Payne first. Stabilize, I mean, make sure we're solid. We're not borrowing money. We're not cashing in CDs. We're not doing things to make the payroll. We're putting that money aside, and we're making these guys, life for these guys easier to be able to do the job. So, it's time. If we wait, I don't know what we're waiting on. So I know how everybody sits up here, and I appreciate Mr. Taylor and for his watching carefully, very cautious. You know, we need to make sure this is the right time to do it. I want to really encourage him, if it's in any way possible, I think this is the right time. Johnny also has been in, I mean, he can get the best deal in town for things that he did. And I appreciate that, but he's conservative. I know he's conservative, but I would ask him also to please consider, I think this is the time that we need to make this decision and do it right. I think the citizens will stand up behind us. Wade, thanks for doing all the work, getting out there and just putting it all together, because the information you got, it's a no-brainer. So please guys, think about this. Lynn, thanks a lot for what you do to make it work. Don't give up, guys, just push it through. Make it go. The citizens will thank you for it 10 years down the road. They may not understand now, but we're visionaries, so we see what's going on down the road, make the decision, and they'll appreciate the work. Thanks a lot for your time, and I'll continue to do a good job.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you all. Anyone else?
How y'all doing?
Good, Randall, how are you?
Good. Thanks for the opportunity to come before you. As you know, I have been in favor of this for some time, from my time back on the council, because I believe back then, 3 years ago, that it was time. You know, one of the things that I heard over the 4 years that I served, and even beyond that now, and you hear it still today, is we want jobs, we want better jobs, we want better paying jobs, you know, but we all know what it takes to get that. And currently, we don't have what it takes to get it. We just don't. We don't have the ability to compete with other cities. We've got around, what, $212,000, I believe, on our industrial recruitment. I would challenge you to find an industry that will come here for $212,000 in incentives. You're not going to find it. Our school system, that was another key thing. And I said this before. We developed a plan. Walter and I developed a plan that we put before the council 3 years ago. But the plan that I heard laid out at the work session last week was far better than what we had come up with. So I believe the combination of having that great plan, having vision, which is what we need, having that vision and having the courage to make the hard decision is what it's going to take. And that's what I challenge you as the guys, as the elected officials sitting here, is to have that courage and to have the vision to do what it takes to take Fort Payne forward. I know that was a big campaign thing, was moving Fort Payne forward. Let's make that reality and not just a campaign slogan. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If you don't mind, you've already heard me once, but I'll take a good second. The school system, we've heard it mentioned several times. I want to thank you for even considering this. But I want to tell you, facilities is where we are. And again, I just want to remind you that Williams Avenue is a 1954 model, and we're busting at the seams at Wills Valley. If we could have a new 3rd through 5th grade elementary school, that could relieve that pressure. That could also help with pre-K needs that you also have. And also that we could move 5th grade from Fort Payne Middle School to the new school and relieve the pressure at Fort Payne Middle School. And along with that, just do some additions that would really complement what's going on at the high school. So your consideration in this is much needed. We really, the students could benefit from it. So we're talking about 750 students that would benefit from a facility that would leave a 54 model and go into a new facility. So If we could do it.
54.
Yeah, 1954.
That's not a bad year.
That's not a bad year. But I won't tell you how many years ago that was.
Well,
But
just think, that means it's as old as John.
Yeah. That is an old school.
Not as old as me.
But thank you for that consideration. Facilities, that's our short term right now.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I want to say one thing. I think this thing is not going to happen overnight. I think we got to do a lot of thought, a lot of planning, a lot of talking, and we got to sit down with the school board and everything else and try to come up with a plan. And we need a plan of what we're going to do. Basically, I think everybody's got different ideals, and we got to sit down and prioritize and go from there. I believe whatever happens. I'm not sure how I'll vote yet. I'm conservative. I remember what I said right over there in the auditorium, it hadn't been that long ago, and everybody won't have to twist my arm and show me the right thing.
I just think we've got to do what's best for Fort Payne going forward. I know we can't keep backing up. We can't keep, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, to make our payroll. And in order to get better things, in order to get, things don't last forever. A lot of our facilities were built in the 80s. That's 30-something years ago. And so, we have to have some source of funding to get that, get those updates made. I do think we need a strategic plan. Lynn and I have talked with Tony Renta from Birmingham, who was very instrumental in doing some things for Main Street. He's offered to put us a proposal together to see, to put a group together to study this thing and prioritize. He knows where to get grants to where we can facilitate projects that we want to do that will piggyback on other projects that will not cost the city. But in order for us to move forward, we've got to have a funding source. I mean, we've already got a project that is with the Alabama Department of Transportation down at the interstate for the 2 roundabouts and the intersection change there, Jordan Road and Airport Road and 35. We've already committed $1 million to that project. So, those funds have got to come from somewhere to get those, necessary changes made. So, I look at it as a step in the right direction. Taxes have not been changed raised since 1984. I don't know the exact dollar, but I know what minimum wage was in 1985. It was $3.35. Today, minimum wage is $7.25. I don't know how many people in here still make what you made in 1984, but I would bet you that it's not the same dollar amount. And I think the city has done a tremendous job keeping our taxes low. Sometimes, it's time to look at things and say, are we going to go forward, or are we going to just continue to get by and move things this way and that way? So.
I have a question. We keep talking about we have to have a plan, we have to have a plan. We heard Wade's plans. That's if we raise taxes. So I want to ask all of you, if we don't raise taxes, what's your plan to get our cash reserves back up? I mean, I said we took out, $6 million in the last 5 or 6 years? So how are we going to get that cash reserve back up? It's Good question, isn't it?
Very good.
Does anybody have an answer? Huh?
If we can have a big yard sale, that's about it.
Well, you're gonna have to start cutting services, you're gonna have to start cutting things, and, you know, you already know we try to do the most conservative things as we do, but you're gonna have to start cutting services and stuff if we don't find some type of source of income.
So my next question is, you all just answered it. We don't have a plan to build that cash reserve back up. So what are we?
We have a
waiting on?
plan, we don't spend as much. We bought some new dozers and we bought, $800,000 worth of street lights and things. Our tax, thankfully, has been going up about $300-something thousand a year. You know, this is something that we've got to take all this into consideration.
This reserve was built up over several years.
Yes.
And it naturally, whenever we had a downturn in '08, then that was whenever we started having to use part of the reserve. The years after that. And there was a few years that we still had a reserve, but not as much as it had been in previous years. And that's one reason it's lower than what, and we've used money out of it.
And we bought, we got 2 new fire trucks, we got a new paving machine, we've got new dozer at the landfill, we got a new dozer at the street department, $800,000 worth of street lights, which could have been 1.9 million if we'd went a different way.
Yeah, it was in the 800,000 on the street lights was
So,
in lieu of contracting 1.92 million.
Those are financed, are they not?
Yes.
But
yeah, they were financed.
Just want to make sure.
They would have been financed at 1.9 million, but,
Yeah.
we financed it, and they'll be paid off in 5 years, and then all we'll be paying for is electricity.
yeah, and they'll be paying for themselves.
I think
But
that,
I'm just throwing some stuff out there that we've done.
With a reduced amount of electricity, they will pay for themselves.
but I think you guys have done a great job of doing that.
Well, thank you.
But
Thanks.
I don't understand why we have to wait to have a plan, because if you didn't spend 1 penny of this for 2 years and you put this $2.8 million back into our reserves, it'll take us 2 years just to get back where we were 5 years ago. So let's say we don't pave another street, we don't buy anything, we don't build a school. You got 2 years that you can just keep putting this money back in the reserve, just to get us back to where we were. So I don't know.
Some of
what
that
we're
money in
waiting on.
reserve was bond money that was put in there. Am I right?
Are you talking, what, in
And
2008?
when we had the 12 million. I think he had bond proceeds of a couple of million or so, so
The research.
Yeah,
I
some of
did
that's a
was
little bit
2010, not 2008.
iffy. I'm not saying I'm totally against anything. We've got to sit down with the school board. We got to decide what they need, what we can do. There's lots of things to do. It's not just as easy as passing tax.
I
Not for me,
guess
anyway.
what I'm just getting at is, regardless of how we spend it, we need it. Whether we save it, spend it, school, roads, equipment, we need it. That's my 2 cents.
I'll brag on these guys. They did a great job doing with what they had to do with. We bought 2 fire engines. We got a $300,000 grant for one of them. We paid some money down and we financed some money to pay for 2 brand new fire trucks. We bought a bulldozer. We paid for it out of tax money that was in the highway and traffic fund, I believe. So it's paid for. We got another bulldozer that we got 2 mortgages on. It's financed. It'll last us longer than we'll be around, but it's an expensive piece of equipment, but we had to finance it. So they've done a good job of getting us by with what we had, but our revenues are not matching our expenses. And we cut $1,008,000 last year in one city to balance the budget and pass it with a $68,000 surplus. We had to take much needed equipment out of that. And we did that to give the employees a raise. Several raises were given individually over the course of the last couple of years before that, but the city employees in total hadn't been given a raise in a while. So we gave a raise a month after getting elected and taking office, which is politically crazy. You give raises to your employees right before election if you want to get reelected. But that didn't factor into that. We gave them a much needed raise and took a garbage truck out of the budget to help do that. That was a tough decision. And Monday, when they started up at the landfill, they had 3 trucks broke down, had to fix them and get them on the road and go. So I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this, but we've done as good as we can do at cutting money. And I see the 40 people on Facebook. Rocky was optimistic that 50 would jump out here. But there's about 30-some odd people on Facebook trying to kill us and tear us up with misinformation or lack of information. And this is hard. This is a hard decision to make. But this decision was made last in 1984, and I feel like it's time. I agree with their position, I understand them, and I back them in their right to have that opinion and that decision. But me personally, I think this is the right thing to do. It's absolutely the right time to do it. And I'm ready to move forward, slowly, patiently, and diligently. As long as we're moving forward, I'm good with it. And I don't have a problem with anything that's been said here tonight, and that's all I got to say for right now.
Well, I would just like to say, sorry, when we the first chance we had to give money to industry, I was horrified that we were going to give them every bit of money we had for their industry to come in to our city. And I'm like, okay, so what do we do if we have another industry right after that come in? We're not going to have any money to give them. And that's a scary thing to do, especially when you hold the responsibility to try to get this industry in here and try to grow your city. And it's almost embarrassing, honestly. I'm just glad, evidently they knew how much we had in our account. I don't know. But, and then I hear a lot of, things like, well, why aren't you fixing the sidewalks? Why aren't you doing these things? There are a lot of things that we would love to just write a check for and, snap, get those things done, but there's no money for that. And I know that we've cut, and I agree with these guys. I mean, I understand where Red and Johnny have come from, and I respect them. I respect the former council members. I know where you were at when you were trying to run the city in the past. But I have to agree, as a new person, we've got to do something. Something's got to be done to maintain our city going forward. Not only that, but to try to somewhat grow it. We've got to stabilize what's going on now. I know we bought equipment, we've done this, we've done that. That's always going to happen. I mean, if you own a house, there's always upkeep. There's always something to buy. There's always something, that you need to update or improve upon. Same thing here. I don't think that there'll ever be a time where we won't need something and have an expenditure. It'd be great to have that money in the bank and be able to not borrow the money. Or to not borrow, so that we can make payroll or cash out a CD or whatever. I mean, I just want Fort Payne to be stable and be the best it can be. I agree with Brian, I agree with Wade, and I agree with Johnny and Red too, kind of from the past of what they've done, and I respect that. But I wholeheartedly think, and honestly, and Brian and I talk about this a lot, I'm not in this position for votes. If someone doesn't vote for me because I voted for sales tax because I believe it's the right thing to do, then don't vote for me again. I'm here to serve the people and be a public servant. I'm not going to vote for something worried about who is or isn't going to vote for me my next term.
All right, first of all, I want to say I'm going to discharge my duty as the lawyer for the city of Fort Payne. If you don't pass it as 1 cent sales tax, it's legal. If you do pass it, it's legal. Albertville just went to 5. Now I'm going to take that off and I'm going to go get my citizen hat on. It's an Auburn hat, that's right.
Stop the meter.
Not the meter's off.
That's your meter off.
Meter's off. And it's always uncomfortable as a lawyer to take position on an issue. But first of all, I want to say, in representing the water board of the city of Fort Payne since 1984, and the biggest criticism they ever received was when they floated a bond issue and spent $12 million, which is probably the equivalent of $25 million today, to go to the Tennessee River and get water out of the Tennessee River and break it to Fort Payne. They were called idiots, they were called wasteful, they were called stupid, and I'm telling you, had that not happened, I'm not sure the city of Fort Payne would even be here today, because we came, before it got completed, within 2 weeks of the entire city of Fort Payne being without water. And now, everybody talks about how forward-looking the Fort Payne Water Works Board was. And that's where you are now. There's an old saying, if you're in the hole, the first thing you do is quit digging. Guys, it's time to quit digging. You've been digging for 6 years. And you're not going to fix it unless you get more revenue. That's the only way you're going to fix it. The cost of running this city is not going to go down. Now, if we want to talk about the reality that Walter talked about getting reelected, I'm going to tell you, from what I've heard, and I've heard a lot since that work session, if you want to make sure you don't get reelected, you don't pass this tax. I'm telling you, the people out there are ready for it. They want it. The question I get, excuse my French, is what the hell took them so long? And they want to talk about the problems they want fixed. They want the sewers fixed. They want Terrapin Hills fixed. They want a new school. And they know they're not going to get that without the money. And if y'all don't pass it, you guys can hang it up.
I'm gonna hang it up anyway, so.
Well, then you don't matter to you. But the rest of you, you're going to hang it up if you don't go past that time. And it's just like she said. You're absolutely right. Before you spend 1 single cent of that money, you got to have a plan. You need to identify what you're going to spend it on. You need to identify how you're going to leverage it, how you're going to turn that $3 million a year, $2.8 million a year into a $15 million project or a $30 million project. You don't spend a dime on it till you do that. But there is absolutely no sense, none, in fiddle farting around for 3 or 4 more months before you pass this thing and losing out on $600,000 or $700,000. And she said if we don't do anything for 2 years, put it in the bank, get our reserves back up there, so the next time we need a new fire truck, we can pay for it. We don't go borrow the money. Now, some of y'all don't agree with that. And that's, I'm not speaking as your lawyer, I'm speaking as a citizen of Fort Payne. And I am telling you, every single person I've talked to, I have not heard one person. And I told Wade as we left last time, I said, just don't get the syndrome where when 50 people tell you you're being crazy, that you think that means everybody. Remember, that means 12,950 didn't say that. Steve, I never have agreed with Steve Brewer before in my whole life. Not one time.
He's gone to the bathroom.
Gone to the bathroom. Well, I agree with him. Well, you tell him I said it. Recorded this.
Say it again, Rocky, say it again.
In my whole life, I've never agreed with Steve Brewer.
I missed it.
You want one more time?
No, wait.
Tell me when you're ready.
Go.
Never before in my whole life have I agreed with Steve Brewer, but I agree with him tonight. You didn't have one single person stand up and say, don't do that. And those are the people that showed up. It's time to move on. And it doesn't need to be a month, doesn't need to be a week. You know, it needs to happen. Take your money, put it back, put it in the bank, and form your plans. Get together with the school board, get together with the sewer.
There he is.
I want you to know, Steve, I just agreed with you. I've never done that before.
3 times.
You still were out there a long time. But
I figured you'd have called for a vote by now.
But I'm just telling you guys, let's get the money coming in, and then let's put together a plan, and let's spend it right, and let's turn Fort Payne from a town that has turned mediocre, and it has. Turned mediocre. Let's put it back where it was in the 80s, where we're leading again, because we can do it. Now I'm going back to being a lawyer.
Back on the meter.
Just leave it off.
All right, do we have any, Walter?
Please do what Rocky said. You gotta go ahead and vote on it. Don't get mixed up in, I mean, you don't have to do it tonight, but don't get mixed up in taking your time and passing it and taking your time and figuring out how you're gonna actually distribute it.
That's right.
You know, do it. I mean, it's time to do it. The longer we wait, the harder it's gonna be. I'm thankful we got Rhea and Johnny because, I mean, I think you got enough votes to do it. They will help you with their conservative be able to make sure it's done right. So you got the right mix up there right now. So just let's do it and say this is where we live. This is our home. And I don't like to raise a sewer rate because I don't pay sewer. Now, I can't help. I want to help. I want to give to support my town. And I think everybody here would want to do that. I'd love to see 10 years from now we got a new school up and know that our city is financially strong. You got to serve forever. Just do the right thing.
Amen, that's it.
I think it's the desire of every individual at this table to see Fort Payne move forward. And I really think we can do great things. If we, you know, but we got to work together. We got to, you know, agree to disagree sometimes. We're not always going to agree on everything, but we can agree to disagree and go on and get things done. Anybody else got any comments, questions on the tax?
One last thing, real quick. Wade, it's your time in the fire department, or anybody's here in a medic, you show up and somebody's bleeding, what's the first thing you do? Stop the bleeding. Then you figure out how to treat them. We're bleeding. We're bleeding. It's time for us to stop the bleeding, get the money coming in, approximately $233,000 a month that we're missing out on every month we don't do this. It's time. The time is now.
And one other thing that, you know, that I didn't mention, but during the campaign and everything, you know, I heard there was a couple of things that came up more times than a dozen. Was the MAPCO building, the old hospital. Well, in order to do things with those two properties, it takes money. We can't just go out there and do it, you know, and not have the money to do it. So we gotta do something. So.
How are y'all? I'm Ashley Vaughn, and I'm not really nervous to be up here in front of y'all. But I own a business here, and I sell real estate here, so I'm not saying I'm for or against the tax at all, because obviously if I own a business, then I don't want people to come in and shop with me. If I sell real estate, then obviously we need people to come in. I want them to buy all the houses and all of them from me. But in the same regard, you know, I'm a tax-paying citizen here, and so I just really want you guys to really take your time, like you're saying, you want to sit down and talk to the school boards and talk to everybody and make sure that this is something that is going to be beneficial. I know we're in the hole and all that, but I know if Scotty makes a lot more money, but I keep using my credit card, he can make all the money all day long. But if I'm out there spending it left and right, he can make it all day long, and it's not going to make a difference in our household at all, besides the fact that he's just keeping us above water. So I just want to make sure that Fort Payne, because we live here, we grew up here, if we decide to have kids, then they'll be raised here. If I could get Scotty, you know, to let me leave here, but we're stuck here. But, because we love it. But anyway, I want it to be the best that it can be, obviously, for our kids one day, for my nieces and nephews. But I don't want it to be something that just continually gets in the hole and we're just adding, trying to stay above water. So I just really ask, and thank you guys for taking the due diligence to make sure that just because you get more money doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to keep us out of the hole. If y'all can, you know, and I know y'all done price cuts and whatever, I don't know if that's the right word. Anyway, because I'm nervous, and I'm using my hands a lot, but anyway. But just to make sure, like I said, that that money is gonna be used, and it is gonna go forward, and it is gonna get us out of the hole and get us the reserves back and all of that. So that's just all I ask, is that thank you for doing your due diligence to make sure that we don't just keep on piling it on. Hopefully that makes sense.
Well, it's just like already been said up here before, you know, they all of us would like to see Fort Payne progress and move forward. And of course, you know, there are 5 people up here with 5 different ideas of how to do that. And that's the reason there's not a dictator. And, I mean, we could hire Rocky to be a dictator instead of an attorney.
I'm cheaper as a dictator than I am as an attorney.
I wouldn't doubt that. But anyway, that's the way it is. You know, that's the reason there's 5 people sitting up here. Yes.
Can everybody see me? I know I'm just barely all over the podium here. My name is, stand up. My name is Dan Stahl. My wife and I moved into the area a little over a year ago, I think, or something like that. Before coming here, I was in the Air Force. I was an analyst by trade. And there was an old chief that once told me, if you don't track it, it's not going to get better. So this is a piggyback on the previous lady. You know, fine, we can make the tax. That's great. You know, increase it if you want to. But if we don't have oversight, if we're not watching what we're doing, we could be here in 5 more years or 2 more years, right? And say, well, now we don't have enough money now because such and such and such and such. Now we're going to go to 10. Well, I don't know how the incremental system works for taxes here, but I just, you know, I just want to make sure that we have the oversight that we need to make sure that, hey, we're making good decisions, track what we're doing, see what we're doing, and then, you know, just adjust to the numbers. Let the numbers guide you. I think that was what the other gentleman was saying as well. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
That's one thing that Lynn and I really talked about with this Tony Renta, who was here at our last work session. He can, close your ears just a minute, Rocky. How many knows where Coleman's at? Okay, he done a lot of work with Coleman and done a strategic plan for Coleman and stuff, and it works. You know, Coleman gets a lot of money. How many of you have been to a ball tournament in Coleman and they dropped money over in Coleman? You know, that could happen here as well. And you know, he's got the foresight and the resources to look for grants so that we can wisely look at these things and say, okay, we don't need to spend this money for this. We can get a grant for it, but a lot of these grants you've got to have matching money for, and you've got to have that money somewhere. So we would have the money. We wouldn't necessarily spend all of our money, all of our reserve, but we'd have enough there that we could match this grant and get these grants to bring things in that you know, we've looked at and got a plan for. So.
And one of the things I really like and respect about him and trust about him is like the sewer project. It's very smart to do a green space along with that project because of grant monies. And there's a chance that we could get 50 cents back on the dollar that we spend, so why not do it? And there's a lot of tweaking of things, you know, that if we want to do, you know, if you add just this one more aspect to this project, then you then maybe can get a grant. So he has all that knowledge. And he was supposed to be here tonight, but he's traveling and.
He's consulting for somebody else.
Yeah, he's consulting for someone else.
He's much in demand. Yes.
He's in Golden.
No. But he has a heart for Fort Payne.
Right.
There was a property here, Ashley, he was interested in. I mean, that's how vested he is in this area. Because as you know, if you move here or ever come here, you know, it's just an endearing place. And that's what we're looking at, I think, as a group in doing is hiring. He's actually an urban developer, and he knows much more about it than probably all 5 of us collectively. And so once we can get his proposal, then we can discuss that and look at that plan, because I know whatever he has is much more than I could probably dream of or come up with.
I had no idea about the 50-cent money. That was so remarkable to hear that you can tie any infrastructure program with a green project, and you potentially could get 50 cents back on every dollar you spend. And if you got an $18 million sewer project to do all three projects, if you could do that, make that a green space and do that whole project for less than what one section of it would cost, that's crazy to not even look into that. I mean, the ability to do things like that free up money for other things quickly, and you take care of 2 or 3 things with some of this. If you do the creek cleaning, the green space, and the sewer line, that's 3 projects with one pot of money that eliminates the need for coming back and doing something else, just by doing it the right way and getting ahead of it with the paperwork. And he's the guy that generates that paperwork for us. So that was really interesting for me to hear that right off the bat. And there's no telling what all's out there. That he's the guy to lead us in that direction.
And as long as I've lived here, I've always heard that there's nothing for our kids to do. Nothing. I mean, I grew up here, we found things to do, and that's the sad thing now is kids are finding bad things to do and occupy their time with. And, you know, if we can build biking, hiking, trails and things like that for them to do, I just think it can't do anything but benefit our community and our youth.
Right. That's our future.
Okay, anybody else?
Two more.
I'm Mark Wilson. I'm just curious. I've sat here and listened to this whole thing, and everybody sat here, and we've got the votes tonight. We've got 3. If I'm hearing everybody correctly, we've got 3 votes. Y'all can be here 2 years from now listening to this. Rainsville, I think, is 9%, if I'm not mistaken. Alville's 10%. Are we gonna be the next Jefferson County? Are we gonna be broke? And who are they gonna blame? The council. It's time to make the decision, guys. Don't put it off 2 months. It sounds like a no-brainer to me. I've never, unless this next person is against it, who wouldn't do it? I mean, I don't think it's gonna break anybody. It's time to make a decision. The worst thing you can do is be indecisive or no decision. That's worse than making a decision. Heck, have a vote on it. Do it. I'm ready.
Agreed.
Well, I can't be the only one that not speak. This is a subject that I'm very familiar with. We had a lot of fun over in the auditorium one night, I remember. One thing I want to say is this, is how much I appreciate you guys tackling this. You know, this is, some of you already know that this is not a fun subject. You guys knew it wouldn't be going into it. And I'd have to say, I think the plan that you guys have put together is a better plan than what we had before. And that I would probably be more inclined to vote for it than I was before. But I do want to say one thing. One argument that I've heard that I don't really like to hear, that I kind of wish you guys would get away from, is that we haven't raised taxes, or taxes haven't gone up since 1984. Taxes are a percentage of the economy. It's an 8% of the economy. You know, you talk about minimum wage being $3.35 and being $7.35 now. That's a reflection of the economy. It goes up. You know, the revenue that we have today is not what we had in 84. It has gone up because it's a percentage of the economy. So keep that in mind, and don't raise taxes just because we have it in 84, because using that logic, you know, in 1,000 years from now, you know, every 20 years we'll go up, we'll be at 100%. So, but I'm not standing up here to speak against the sales tax. I think you guys have put a good plan together, and I want to support you in whatever you do, and I appreciate you looking at it. But I just want to caution you about the not raising taxes, you know, because they have risen in the last 8 or since 1984. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks.
I'm Celeste Reagan, and I'm not gonna say I'm for it or against it, because I like to have new things here in town too, and yes, my last child just graduated, but I do have 2 grown boys that are gonna go to school too. What I do wanna say is, when you get that, because obviously we're gonna pass it, you've got enough to do that. When you get that extra penny, I want you to make sure that you spend it correctly, we're not down this road again 2 years from now, you're asking for another penny because, well, we've built this over here, or we've added to the school here, maybe we have to do things bite by bite, because that's how you eat an elephant, is bite by bite. And do take in consideration, though, that, you know, yes, we are Fort Payne, but we also serve the county. When people come from the county, they come to Walmart here in Fort Payne rather than going to Scottsboro because it's 9% or different things. So just think about that, because not that you're going to lose a race because you raised it a penny this year, but it's going to be how you spent that money in the long term. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, I ain't got to say anything, but if Rocky got down here and said something. Of course, I'm Jimmy Durham, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, raise that tax 1% and you won't get any industry into the area. Well, they're totally wrong. Because if you don't raise the money, you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the quality of life here in Fort Payne, they're not going to come. And that's how you also make the pie bigger. As Dana mentioned, you want to increase your sales tax. You want to increase your sales, retail sales. And as you do that, you make that pie bigger, where we don't have to come back and ask for more money later on. But we use, and I'll have to say, I know some mention about whether, you know, making sure that y'all spend it correctly. Well, y'all have. You know, I've been around here for a long, long time, and I don't think I've ever seen money misspent here in Fort Payne in ages. I think the last councils and all have spent money correctly. We have a great city now, but we got to keep it great, and we got to continue to grow. We got to provide services. We've got to make Fort Payne attractive. We got to have a workforce. That's a big thing right now. It's not necessarily location, but you got to have a workforce, which can only come about with a good school system. And so it's everything. It's not just one particular thing, but it's everything to make Fort Payne a great city. And I'll have to say, we got a great city council to start with. And I think y'all can make this a great city. Again, nobody likes taxes. I was figuring up, I thought, well, maybe I should just drive to Rome, Georgia and buy stuff if they go up 1 cent. Well, 45 miles over, 45 miles, 90 miles at 50 cents per mile. If you try to figure it out, that means it's going to cost you $45 to drive to Rome. I'm not sure. I think Rome's taxes may be 10%. But you'd have to spend $4,500 to break even for just going over there for a 1 cent sales tax. Where else can you go where the sales tax is cheaper than Fort Payne? So people aren't going to go other places. Besides, I think people here want to spend their money in Fort Payne. And again, you know, when gasoline jumps up 35, 40 cents, and nobody yells or screams or anything. They may tell the neighbor, I hate that. But, you know, 1 cent I don't think will kill anybody. And, you know, I know people say, well, the older people, well, there are advantages that they do have. There are means that they can get funding and services to help them. So I just want to thank y'all for even bringing this up, talking to them. And y'all did a great, I think, strategic plan. I don't know how much more planning you need to do. You know, as you get the money, you can review these things that weights y'all have put together and choose which ones you need to do. And you're going to do it over a long time. You're not going to spend all that money immediately. So, you know, I trust y'all completely to spend that money for the betterment of Fort Payne and in the best way. And I don't have a problem with that at all. You know, y'all have done a great job with the monies that you have had, probably better than anybody else could have, and provide the services and all that you do. So I just want to commend you from an economic development standpoint. We support the increase in the tax, and again, I just want to thank y'all and urge you to go ahead and move as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't be too long. I'm Scotty Bond. You guys already heard from my wife earlier. You know, as she stated earlier, we're heavily invested in the city, you know, her business, both businesses she runs, and my construction business. You know, I worked all over this town for 20 years. And I remember when the hosier business was wide open and there was a lot of industry, a lot of money coming through. I would like to see you guys, when you pass the tax or whatever you guys do with that, don't spend it for about 5 years. Instead of it being a short-term plan, make it a long-term plan where for future generations, we don't have to worry about, are we going to go to pick up trash, or we're going to go to buy a new dozer, and all that stuff. So I know the city's a big working mechanism that has parts that wear out. I see it going to landfill and stuff like that. But, I just encourage you to save it for a rainy day as much as we can. Plan, take as long as you need to take. Figure it out, because your 5 people represent about 14,000, 15,000 people. So you take your time and do what you need to do your due diligence, and you know, if we're losing money every day, then we've been fine for 30 years, we'll make it another couple months. You take your time and get a very good plan, be very detailed, and do what you need to do.
Thanks, Scott.
Hello. I'll introduce myself, but I'm pretty sure y'all all know me. I'm Angie Sugar, and I have One World Adventure, and I do a lot of community outreach, do environmental education in schools, and it's a nonprofit organization, and our donor base is really small in this area. So we have to be pretty creative in how we bring in income. So what we did 5 years ago is partner with DeSoto State Park to offer kayak and canoe rentals at DeSoto Falls. And I was particularly intrigued by the plan with the green space and the bike trails and all that, because you know I've been working with the mayor the last 3 years on bike trails, trying to turn the city into a bike town. And you know the old saying is, you know, build it and they'll come. And I just want to give you an example of our business, how it grew visitorship to DeSoto State Park over the past 5 years. Before we started renting kayaks and canoes out at DeSoto Falls, no one knew that they could paddle that section of Little River. Only people who knew about it was locals who lived on the river, and that's really who all used it, just a couple of camps and a few locals. You'd never see anybody out on the river. Well, we rent, you know, we have a fleet of 30 boats, and they're booked for every launch, every weekend. People are coming from Huntsville, Atlanta, Chattanooga, all over the place, because they love to explore in this area. Our state park has done a great job, the Canyon Center has done a great job as bringing tourism, but actually having things for people to do when they come is very limited. And so I encourage you all to pass the tax and us build this town, because we have great opportunities for outdoor recreation. I have to turn people away. There's enough business for more outfitters to come in, because we're turning people away. People want to come here, they want us to take them backpacking, they want us to take them rock climbing, rappelling, and kayaking, and these are things that we can do right here in Fort Payne. They don't have to, you know, necessarily go out to look out, or they can, you know. And you know, Johnny, Red, I voted for you both, and you know, I want you guys to make a good decision, and I know you will. I know that's why it's, you know, taken a little while to continue to talk it over to make sure it's the right choice, but for this city and for growth and outdoor recreation in this region, I would say yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Before we move on. Anybody else up here? Any comments? Okay. We will move right along. Resolutions. Resolution 2017-33, accepting low bid for 424A plant mix.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Resolution 2017-34, authorizing a one-time bonus to the city retirees. Cost to the city will be $49,824 to be paid by an increase in the city's match to the retirement system beginning October the 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2019.
Okey dokey. I'll make a motion.
That is a, one time from the state retirement system.
Right.
The state and the city has to.
Yes.
Right. It's added on to the city's part of the state
I'll
retirement
second.
starting the October.
It's not a
year.
cost of living, it's just.
No,
one time.
I'll second Johnny's motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
All abstain being a retired city employee.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, resolution 2017-35, authorizing an assessment to be placed on property located at 3 Oak Street Northeast, owned by Lowell Austin, for cleanup and removal of debris in the amount of $4,000.
Make that motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. New business, public street lights. Oh,
36.
yeah, I had to open. Okay, 2017-37, authorizing legal action against pharmaceutical companies.
This is what y'all authorized, or Rocky mentioned a meeting or two ago.
We had talked about this. We had talked about this before. This is joining basically a part of what will ultimately become, I think, a nationwide action in response to the opioid addiction problems that are taking place nationwide, costing counties, cities, states hundreds of thousands of dollars. There have been several suits filed already. We've got several cities in Alabama that are in line to join this action. There's absolutely no cost to the city. If there are monies are recovered, then the city will get their share. If there are no monies recovered, the expenses will be taken care of by the head lawyers, the lawyers that are putting this lawsuit together. So it's a no-lose situation.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And this resolution just authorizes that. I've given each of you a copy of the contract to review before it's actually signed.
Motion carried. Now moving on to new business. Public street light for Julie Muse at the Holiday Inn Express on 112 Airport Road. Randy, you want to speak to this?
Really dark spot, and with the addition of Applebee's out there, I think those street lights are well needed, because patrons are gonna be back and forth from the Holiday Inn to Applebee's and the other restaurants out there, so yes,
I think it's something that could be very dangerous.
Yes.
Not leave it up there, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And this is 2 lights.
yes.
Yes.
If I could recommend Andy they need to install a 160 LED on each of those.
Yes, I put
160.
Yes, sir.
on both of them, correct?
Both of them. Yes, sir.
Okay, next, the polling place change. The DeKalb County Commission requests permission to change the polling location from the VFW to the City Auditorium during the time of the VFW Fair.
Scotty, you got anything on that?
It's just gonna be awful crowded there by the fair.
Right, but you don't know the problem with it.
Be fine.
Make a motion to approve the change.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, presentation of retirees plaques.
You want to do that? We got LaDon Gray, Ray Bradbury, and Mikey Griggs.
down, boys. Down.
What y'all been waiting for?
Yeah.
No.
My greetings. In appreciation of 25 years of dedicated service to the city of Fort Payne and its citizens.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hey.
25 years of dedicated service.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciation of 14 years of dedicated service to the city of Fort Payne.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's big enough to get us all in together.
Wow.
That'll take up the whole page.
Appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Okay. Facility reservation request. Treaty Ray for Saturday, July the 29th, a reunion at the Rotary Pavilion, approximately 100 to 150 attendees.
Good.
Good?
So much.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Once again, I want to say I appreciate everybody being here and being open, being willing to talk about a really hard subject sometimes. It's not been an easy thought process in the least. As I said, I don't think any of us up here wants to put a burden on our citizens. We just want to make things better and do it in a way that we're very cautious about what we do and how much we spend and the way we spend it, and get the most for our money. So.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, I would ask that you all keep the Russell family in your prayers tomorrow, as Ronnie Russell's laid to rest. Remember his mom and dad.